So I want to share 5 primary things with you. I call them the 5 extraordinaries. Number 1, I'm a pretty simple guy. These are very simple ideas. Number 1, today, here, now, make a commitment to yourself to be an extraordinary leader. To be an extraordinary leader. And I have a philosophy, and it's not new, but everyone's a leader. If you have a pulse, if you consume oxygen, you can show leadership behavior. Everyone in this room, I believe to you, one of my clients is one of Asia's fastest growing IT companies called Satyam Computer. 0 to $1 billion in under 10 years. I know where you guys are going as an organization. And I had the pleasure of sitting down and having dinner with Chairman Raju, who founded the company. And I said, what's your competitive advantage? You want to hear what he said? He said, I believe our competitive advantage is growing leaders throughout the organization faster than the competition. So what I'm suggesting to you is everyone in this room needs to LWT, lead without title. So we're going to talk about what leadership is all about. It's not about title, it's about the way you show up. Number 2, I invite you, as we go through this, I'm going to be talking about being an extraordinary connector. Business begins and ends with people. It's all about relationships. Number 2. Number 3, be an extraordinary performer. Have a bias towards action. Get stuff done. Don't just talk about it, do it. Run towards your fears. Take risks. Raise your bar every day, bit by bit, step by step by step by step. It's amazing how far you can get 6 months from now. Number 3. So that's number 3, be an extraordinary performer. Number 4, I'm going to talk about being an extraordinary person. It all begins within. And number 5, I'm going to end with a very moving piece that will remind you that ultimately it's all about how much value you create for the people around you. Be an extraordinary contributor. Okay? Number 1, be an extraordinary leader. Number 2, be an extraordinary connector with people. Number 3, be an extraordinary performer. Number 4, be an extraordinary person. And number 5, be an extraordinary contributor. Very simple philosophy. I'm a simple guy. So, on the first point about leadership, one of my favorite examples. If I can go to my screen, and just leave it on my screen, please, that would be fantastic, as opposed to iMag. Woman on the screen here, just a great example that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. She's not a CEO. She's not a senior vice president. She's not a prime minister. The woman on the screen, her name was Osceola McCarthy, 91 years old at the time she passed away. This woman grew up in wretched poverty, faced absolute adversity, faced one difficulty after another difficulty over the course of her lifetime. First 87 years of her life, she never left her home except to walk up the street to buy grocery and to visit her church. She never learned how to drive. She never got married. Although when she was 87, she did say to her best friend that I'm still looking for a good man. Yet by the time she passed away at the age of 91, she'd been honored by world leaders. She'd met with prime ministers and presidents. She'd even received an honorary doctorate from Harvard University. So who was this woman, and why did she receive such acclaim? Ladies and gentlemen, here's her story. Ever since she was a young woman, she would take the nickels and the dimes and the quarters that she would make washing other people's dirty laundry, and she'd go down to her local bank and make daily, seemingly insignificant contributions. Just like you within your organization, you might think that the little things you do, whether it's a new person you meet, whether it's coaching someone within your organization, whether it's running towards a fear, whether it's taking the time to read, whether it's taking the time to be nice to someone amidst a busy, difficult day. You might think that the little things that you do don't make a difference. I respectfully suggest to you that it's the little things that are the big things. I respectfully suggest to you That a great life is nothing more than a series of well-lived days strung together like a necklace of pearls. And as you live your days, so you craft your life. In other words, getting to world class is not about revolution, it's about evolution. Each day just getting a little bit better. And this woman would take these little nickels and dimes and quarters that she would make washing other people's dirty laundry. And she'd walk down to her bank and make these daily contributions. And friends, this went on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, until the decades slipped away, because life is like that. One day she's 87, she walks into the bank, the man behind the counter looks at her and he smiles, he says, "Osceola, how are you today?" She says, "Fine." He says, "Osceola, do you have any idea how much money you have accumulated as a result of these small, daily, seemingly insignificant contributions that you've been making every day over the course of your life?" She said, "No, why don't you tell me?" He said, "Osceola, you have accumulated $250,000. She was a simple woman. She didn't know how much money that was. The man behind the counter took out 10 dimes and put them on the counter across from her. And he said, "Osceola, these 10 coins represent your money. Please tell me what you want me to do with it." She points to the first dime and she says, "I want you to give that to the church." She points to the next 3 dimes and says, "I want you to give these to my nieces and my nephews because I love them so much." She points to the remaining 6 dimes and she says, "As for these, I have something very special in mind." 1 month later, the local university in Osceola McCarthy's hometown received a check from her for $150,000 with a handwritten note attached to it that simply said, "I would like you to set up a scholarship for poor African American students who still know how to dream." And that act of humanity in a world that's forgotten about humanity and the fundamentals of success, leadership, and greatness touched people around the world. A reporter tracked down Osceola and said, "Well, that's fantastic. What's your dream?" And she said, "My dream is this. I so dearly wish that before I die, I could see the first recipient of my scholarship walk across the graduation stage. But I know because of my age, that's probably not going to happen." And yet 1 month before she died, the first recipient of her scholarship walked across the graduation stage. And after she died, a reporter tracked down the student and said, "Did you hear the news? Osceola has passed away. Your benefactor has gone. Do you have any comment?" And the student said, "Yes, I have a comment." The student said, "Heaven couldn't have gotten a better angel. She was a blessing. She was a treasure. She was a leader in the entire world.